This is an awfully brave statement to say Parkinson's Law is going to destroy your OKR project, but this is what we've seen time and time again. The issue is this, that Parkinson's Law is basically that work expands to fill the allotted time that's available. And the dilemma is if you create yourself too large of a project, too much time to build your OKRs, you fail. What does this look like? If we take a look at the effort required to build your OKR system across time, what it actually takes is only about 30, 40 hours of effort over 1 week. That's it, because you already have the strategy, you know your processes, you understand your KPIs. It's not that much effort. Now, in fact, after the week, there's a bit of a learning curve that goes on, but the answer is not in the boardroom. It doesn't matter how long you debate this thing. It's like riding a bike. You got to get on it and begin using it. So that's all it really takes. Now, what we see in a traditional consulting model is, if you incent your consultant, by paying them by hour or by day, what are they incented to do? Make it take as long as possible. And so the dilemma with that is a couple of things. One is just the simple time to money, right? In the approach that we've found works effective, you're getting huge benefits inside of 6 weeks. Whereas the traditional consulting model, it's 20 weeks if you manage to stick to it. Often projects fail because it's just too long and people get exhausted. But if you get there, it's 20 weeks. So thing one is time to value. So if you take a look at your invested time, in that rapid deployment framework, you have a high value per person day allocated, whereas over the 20 weeks, you have a really low value. But there's other implications as well. If we take a look at that traditional model, what we see is the more time people spend on it, the more complex it is. So in our typical 1 week format, we find that people come up with the standard, 3 KRs per objective. And so for standard leadership team, I'm talking about 30 or 40 KRs. If, on the other hand, over the 6-month period, which we used to do in the good old days, you have, in the end, on average, about 200 key results. So it gets way more complicated. And the thing is, OKRs fail for the same reason as other systems, but they fail for a reason unique to themselves, and that is they crumble under their own weight. The effort it takes to feed the monster is bigger than the benefit. When you've got 200 KRs, it takes a lot of time to update that every week. And so effectively, your quality decreases the more complex the model gets. And so we use time as a forcing function to keep it simple. So if we go back to our model, 6 weeks is basically stabilized. Now, there is some continuous improvement that goes on. So once I launch it, we find that over the next 6 months, about 50% of the key results get swapped out because people in the process come up with better ideas and they've got a more detailed understanding and so forth. If we look at the traditional model, again, what we used to do and we found is ineffective. We have basically the same curve. Now, we have to kind of zoom out to see what that looks like. But guess what? Like with our deployment, over the next 5 months, about 50% of the key results change. In other words, the quality level is the same, whether you get it done in 1 to 6 weeks or whether you get done in 6 to 12 months. But of course, time to value, quality, all those other things are a huge benefit. So that's why we're thinking Parkinson's Law, right? If you give the team too much time, it's ultimately going to destroy your project.